Dan Illman, Mike Beer taking a look back at the Grade 3 Southwest Stakes, an important Kentucky Derby prep at Oaklawn, run on President's Day, Monday, February the 17th. The rematch between Smarty Jones winner Gold Street, who splashed home over a wet track on the lead, and Silver Prospector, who took down a pretty big scalp last year in 'Tis the Law at Churchill Downs. They break from the gate in the Southwest. Silver Prospector, breaking from post position 2, Mike, is eventually going to settle into a very nice spot down towards the inside. Gold Street, the 4, just couldn't get as forward as he did last time, as the 1 Wells Bayou, I thought, was very cleverly ridden by Florent Giroux.
I like the ride that Wells Bayou got. He broke with speed. They used it and put him on the front. Once Gold Street, he's the 4 right now. He got beaten to the lead by Wells Bayou. Once that happened, he did not like that. He did not really fire at all. And the winner of this race, Silver Prospector, is the gray. He's getting a perfect trip right in behind the speed.
He is certainly getting a perfect trick, but you're going to notice that he just travels comfortably throughout in this race. And in that Gold Street win in the Smarty Jones, he just had no pace to run at, didn't break very well. He didn't break great here, but he ended up in a very good spot. Wells Bayou's eventually, I think, going to run pretty well, considering I think he carved out a legitimate pace in here, being hustled from the inside. He held gamely for second, but other than Silver Prospector and maybe Answerin, who was forced wide going into the first turn, the number 9, there wasn't a lot of running going on behind.
I agree that Wells Bayou runs really well in this race. He did go a legitimate pace in this race, and it's not like he just caves in when Silver Prospector comes for him in the stretch. I thought he was very game trying to last, but I think your other point is the one that I was more focused on, Dan. It's just that as fast as this pace was, there's just no closing going on. These 3 horses that are on the lead right now are going to be 1, 2, 3 across the line. Nobody makes up any ground on them, and you'll just see Silver Prospector come clear right now, and he's going to go by Wells Bayou. He's going to have to work to do it, but he does it. And he just really had all the best of it here.
Did you see how green Answerin was in third? Maybe it was the layoff. Maybe it was an experience. We had not seen him since he just missed in the Springboard Mile. He was a beaten horse turning into the stretch, but once he was urged by Javier, you saw him drift in considerably down towards the inside. And the fact that he was well clear for third might be an indictment on the rest of this field.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was. Answerin is lightly raced. He maybe had an excuse in here because he was wide almost the entire way while the 1-2 finishers both rode the inside. But he never really made a race of it, Dan. I could give him another chance somewhere else. As far as anybody who finished behind him, I just don't know what you do with those horses because they don't look like they can go on the Triple Crown Trail from here.
I think that's a very fair point. Chase Tracker came in here from New York for Todd Pletcher. We hadn't seen him in a couple of months. He didn't break great, but he didn't run at all after that.
Right, he did bobble at the start of this race, but he was outrun right from there, and he just never made any kind of a run in this race. I was pretty disappointed in his performance.
Gold Street, who ended up finishing last, we saw what happened when he was denied the lead. He started throwing his head around in between horses and began a steady retreat. I think maybe he kind of exposed himself as a need-the-lead type who really is a mudlark.
Yeah, once you got beaten to the lead, obviously it can be uncomfortable for a horse like him. He wants to be on the front, and not only couldn't he make it, but then he just spent most of the race sort of in between and behind horses. He never really could get comfortable. But he was also on empty when they came to the top of the stretch, Dan, and he just backed up completely down to the finish.
Shoplifted sort of ran on evenly for fourth. This is a horse that won the Springboard Mile as a 2-year-old, was third in that Smarty Jones. I thought he had a decent enough trip without excuse in the Smarty Jones, maybe the only excuse being that the winner had a better trip than he did. Kind of passed some tired horses. I don't know. I've kind of maybe had enough of him right now.
Yeah, maybe they should try and turn this horse back. I'm not sure that he wants to go this far. Overall, his trip was fine in here. It looked like briefly he was going to make a run at it, but he just didn't really finish hard at all.
Silver Prospector's already banked over $700,000. He's won an important race at Churchill Downs, which is obviously helpful when you think about the Kentucky Derby. He likes the track. He's taken down a nice horse in 'Tis the Law. He has the tactical speed to work out a trip, and he ran a fast race in this race, which is kind of key. This was the first time he'd ever really run a big giant figure. Would you consider him in the upper echelon right now of 3-year-old contenders, or do you still think he has a lot to prove?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because the figure suggests he's one of the better 3-year-olds out there right now. And I'm not going to argue too hard with it. He was a graded stakes winner before this. He had a big excuse in the Smarty Jones, and he ran the fast race here, Dan, while showing tactical speed. Those are all good things for this horse. I want to see what he does next before I commit to him.
A $50,000 yearling purchase that then resold for $190,000 as a 2-year-old. Dam was multiple stakes placed. Second dam was a graded stakes winning sprinter. We'll see how Silver Prospector does as the distances get longer. To me, this is more of a middle distance type pedigree, but as of right now, Silver Prospector has done little wrong. We'll see where he goes. I would assume it's going to be the Arkansas Derby, where the waters get deeper, the distances get farther, but this race opened up a lot of eyes, and again, he's already beaten Tiz the Law, who many folks believe is the top 3-year-old in the country. So keep an eye on Silver Prospector. For Steve Asmussen, the winner of the Southwest.